Okay, and welcome to Smart Spark Academy. Today we'll be discussing acid-base and salt. Right. So the first one is what? An acid. Acid. Alright, what is an acid? Definition. The definition. What is an acid? What? Alright, take them. What is an acid? An acid is a substance when dissolved in water produces hydrogen ion as its only positive ion. Listen. What? So an acid is a substance when dissolved in water produces H plus ion. H plus ion as its only positive ion. Now let's take for instance HCl. When HCl dissolves in water, it will give you H plus Cl minus. Furthermore, you can see H plus Cl 2 minus for the stuff. But this is the main thing. The positive ion here is what? HCl. You get it? That's it. That's the basic definition of what? An acid. Now, furthermore, there's something they used to say. There are two types of acid. There are two types of acid. Types of acid. We have two types of acid. We have the strong acid and the weak acid. The strong acid are acid that dissolves completely in water. You get? While weak acid are acid that dissolves partially in water. So when the strong acid dissolves in water, all the hydrogen ion will be used up. While a weak acid, when it dissolves in water, all the hydrogen ion will not be used up. That's type of acid: strong and weak. That's for types. Then another thing you should note in acid, base and salt acid is, so another thing you should note is basicity of an acid. Basicity of an acid is the number of replaceable hydrogen ion in one molecule or in one mole of what? An acid. Example: HCl, H2XO4. If this stuff dissolves in water, H will come out. This H is the basicity, therefore, is one H that's coming out. Therefore, the basicity of HCl is what? 1. H2SO4. The basicity of H2SO4 when it dissolves in water will give you 2 molecules of what? Of hydrogen. So you can say the listing of H2SO4 is what? Basicity of H2SO4 is what? Is 2. Listen, very, very important. There is a tricky question here. Take for instance ethanoic acid, CH3, COOH, ethanoic acid. Ethanoic acid, if they ask you, possibly in Jamb or WAEC, if they ask you what is the basicity of ethanoic acid is not 3, is not 4. The only replaceable hydrogen ion, if you dissolve this ethanoic acid in water, the only hydrogen ion that will be functional here will be what? This last one. So come out like this: CH3 COO minus plus H plus H plus. You get? So number of replaceable hydrogen ion here is what? Is 1. Do you understand? That is what for basicity. So that's for basicity of an acid. Then the next thing is properties of acid. So you can put it here. Physical properties of acid. Physical properties of acid. Now, for physical properties of acid, it's just like there's something very, very important you should know in physical properties of acid. There is no movement of chemical ion. There's no movement of ion. There's no exchange of ion. You get me? There's no exchange of ion in what? In properties of physical properties of acid. In chemical properties, there's movement or exchange of ion. You get? So you can say for the physical properties, we have sour paste. It has a sour paste. Number 2, it turns blue, not paper red. It turns blue litmus paper. red. Now listen, the last word for red is what? D. The last word for acid is what? D. So these are used to remember it. Very, very simple. Last word for red is D. The last word for acid is D. So that's the final product of an acid. When you do litmus test, you always will be red. Okay? Then the last one will be physical properties. If you touch an acid, it is corrosive. Corrosive, that is concentrated acid. Acids are corrosive. You get concentrated acid are very, very corrosive. Conc H2SO4, conc HCl are very, very corrosive. That's for what? Physical properties of what? An acid. Now we'll be talking about chemical properties. Chemical properties. Hope you're following. Come on. Hope you're following. That's for what? Now for chemical properties, listen. Chemical properties are the ones that there is movement of ion. You get there is exchange of ion. Ion is moving from this place to this place. There's a reaction. Just put it like that. There's a reaction in what a chemical properties. Permit me to do something like this so that you see it better. Properties of an acid. The first chemical property here is the first chemical property of an acid, listen, is what? Reaction with what? With metal. Now when an acid reacts with a metal, it releases hydrogen gas. When an acid reacts with water, it displaces the hydrogen here. Reacts with metal. When an acid reacts with the metal, the metal will displace the hydrogen here. Example, we have zinc solid plus HCl, which is aqueous. So we have something like, I've told you the basic thing you should know that when a metal reacts with an acid, it's what? It removes the hydrogen, it displaces the hydrogen. When a metal reacts with an acid, it displaces the hydrogen. This is a metal. This is an acid. So when it reacts, it gives you zinc chloride plus H gas. So we have salts, zinc salts, this is a salt, then hydrogen gas. This is gaseous. Now, hydrogen gas, that is gaseous. Hydrogen gas, which is gaseous. And then we have hydrogen gas. Now listen, this zinc is a metal plus acid, then it gives you this. Now note, if you change this zinc, you put aluminium. This equation is not, alright, okay, this equation is not balanced, sorry. This equation is not balanced. So to balance this equation, you put 2 here. How? There's a 2 here, there's a 2 here. So to balance the equation, you put 2 here. So now be this times this, 2, this times this, 2. Balancing of the equation, this side must be equal to this side. That is it. And the next one will be reaction of acid with a base. This is a very famous reaction of acid with a base. So when an acid reacts with a base, it forms salt and water only. Salt and water only. That's a very simple, one of the most simplest reactions in chemistry. Neutralization is also called neutralization reaction. So when an acid reacts with a base, it's also called what? Neutralization reaction. So we have an acid plus base. It gives you salt plus water. So with this, you already have an idea of how it's going to work. The next reaction that you know that this is an acid is reaction with triisocarbonate falls. So triisocarbonate 4, reaction with triisocarbonate 4. 4 Alright, sorry, I don't know. You could not see it. So reaction with triazole carbonate 4. Carbonate 4. This is CO2 minus. This is carbonate 4. So stores that has carbonate 4, we have CaCO3. This has carbonate 4. This is calcium trioxocarbonate 4, which is also limestone. Come on, we have sodium trioxocarbonate 4. So this is a carbonate, a trioxocarbonate. So what is trioxocarbonate? When they react with an acid, HCl, it's always, whether HCl or any other acid, it always gives you water. So it always gives you a salt, water, and most importantly, carbon 4 oxide. So this is the most important one, carbon 4 oxide. So if you are to test an acid, it usually comes out in qualitative analysis. An unknown liquid substance, when you add this limestone to it, it liberates a gas. This gas, if you test it with lime water, it will give you milky. So this is how it is. The unknown substance is an acid. When you add it with lime water, with limestone, which is marble, which is calcium trioxocarbonate, when you add it, it gives you what? Salt, water, and what? CO2. But this CO2 now is the gas that will be involved. As the gas is involved, this thing will happen. What will happen now? You can now test it with lime water. That's that for what? Properties of what? That's that for chemical properties of what? An acid. So permit me to claim that's the chemical properties of acid. The next one now uses. Okay, now uses pressure for this. Chemical properties. So we have chemical properties here. Then the next one now will be preparation. Now, preparation of an acid. For preparation is done by dissolving acids. Okay, for preparation, the first way to prepare an acid is by dissolving what? An acid anhydride. When you dissolve an acid, what is an acid anhydride? An acid anhydride is an oxide of a non-metal. Oxide of non-metal like carbon 4 oxide, nitrogen 4 oxide, sulfur 4 oxide, sulfur 6 oxide, all those stuff. When you dissolve them in water, it gives you an acid. Example, sulfur 4 oxide plus water will give you H2SO3. This is hydrogen trioxocarbonate 4. If you go further, you will get H2SO4. But this is what an example of what how an acid is formed. This is an acid. Okay, the next one now will be through direct combination. Now, for direct combination, we have hydrogen plus Cl. Hydrogen is a gas. So we have HCl. This is done under activated charcoal. Note, activated charcoal, don't forget. Then you balance your equation. Put 2 here. So this is the whole thing about what acid. The uses of acid. I'll be dropping a chart for the uses of an acid to make it simpler. So let's move to the next one. A base. So that is what you should know about what an acid. A base.